Hello, Jen here with a layout for Tuesday's inspiration. That was a little glimpse of our inspiration for this week. It's a beautiful color combination provided by Mel. It's just really pretty and summery and bright and fun, and I actually really like the image as well. It just looks really beautiful and has that like water droplet effect. There's so much you could do with this. So yeah, let's get started. I am going through my album from my trip last summer. I have not gotten very far in this, unfortunately. So I want to kind of focus on it a little bit and get some of this trip really, well documented and get some more of this album finished up. So I'm hopping into this, and I kind of knew just from the papers that I'm using that I'm not likely to find those exact beautiful bright colors, but I'm going to try to match the general color combination the best I can within the colors that I'm using here. So this album is mostly consisting of Vicki Boutin's Discover and Create collection. So you can see I have the giant paper pack here, and I'm going to go through it and kind of to the best that I can with the colors from these papers match the colors that are in the swatch down at the bottom. So it's not exact, but it's definitely going to work. It's the feel that I'm going for, and I didn't think that I would actually be able to find those colors anywhere in my stash. I don't know why. I don't think I have a lot of those really bright, beautiful colors. So part of me was very, very much trying to fight the urge to just go ahead and pull out my paints and paint those colors and just make this kind of color swatch combo for myself. But I've done a bit of that in the last few videos where I've made some of my own backgrounds and stuff. So I thought, no, I'm going to work with what I have, and I really need to focus on getting some of these projects finished up and stop kind of, letting my mind wander to different ideas and stuff. I think that's fantastic, and I'm all for it. I don't think you have to kind of sit down and box yourself into one project and just finish that before you move on to the next one. There's no rules in scrapbooking, and you get to work on what inspires you when it inspires you. But sometimes I know for myself, I just need to focus, put my blinders on a little bit, and just work with what I have. So that is what I'm doing. So I essentially looked through those papers and found 2 different shades of blue, a green, a purple, and a pink. And then I thought one thing I could do to kind of go back and use that inspiration piece in a second way is I'm actually going to replicate the look of these color swatches. I don't know, is that what they're called? I'm going to call it a color swatch. Whenever you have something like that where it's the different colors all down at the bottom and then a photo up at the top, I'm going to call that a color swatch. It's a very Pinteresty thing, right? So I'm sort of going to replicate that on this page. I knew that I didn't have a lot of real estate to work with because this is a smaller album. So these pages are a 6x8 page, but I actually have 7x8 to work with, because when I'm not using a page protector, I get that extra little inch of paper, or it's probably not quite a full inch of paper where the holes are punched. So, it's still not a ton of real estate. So I didn't want to start overcomplicating things and start pulling out a bunch of embellishments and stuff like that. So I thought I'm just going to go ahead and make this very clean and simple and do my little color swatch down at the bottom, put my images up at the top, and then just do some embellishment to the left hand side, because that's where the photo at the top of the color swatch, that's sort of where it's coming from, is that direction coming from left and kind of blossoming from the bottom left corner up to the right top corner. So there's a bit of directionality to it, and I thought that will be where I put my little embellishment cluster, and then I'm kind of replicating the picture as well as in my own way the color scheme too. So you can see how the picture itself is definitely centered, or sorry, not centered, concentrated down in that bottom left hand corner. So that's what I'm going to do to kind of replicate this, and then you get the feel of the layout and the design, and then sort of also the color scheme in the Vicki Boutin color theme way. So with this collection, you can see that the colors are just a little bit more kind of muted, and she tends to do a lot more of that, I think, anyways. She sort of keeps her colors pretty standard, and a lot of her stuff can really mix and match really well. So yeah, I just went with what I had, except this one paper that I just popped down right there. That is from a different collection. I just thought it gave a little bit of a brighter blue than the one I was originally going to use. So I went ahead and swapped that out. And it's a collection that I'm saving. I think it's a Close to My Heart collection. And I'm kind of saving the elements from it for this album, but in some pictures that come a little later on in the trip when we are actually on the East Coast. So it has more of an oceany travel vibe, but more kind of maritime oceany type vibe. So I've sort of been holding on to it, but it's nice to sometimes bring those papers in so that you see little bits and pieces of them throughout the entire album to just make everything I'm saying things too much, to make everything a little bit more cohesive, and you get to see these little patterns or little colors that kind of repeat from start to finish. So I just thought I'd bring it in. It brightens it up, and I think that that's really cute. It also gave a different kind of pattern and movement, so I think that that works well. So I put those down in the general area where the color swatches would be, and in the order that you see them in Mel's swatch as well. But I popped them up so that there's a little bit of dimension there, and now I just have to figure out what sort of little embellishment cluster I can add to the bottom where the swatch ends, that blue ends, and sort of where that flower would be in the inspiration piece. I needed to try to figure out what I could tuck in right there, because there really is not a lot of space, and I don't want it to get too busy and too kind of crazy, because I'm squishing 2 pictures in there as well. So I thought I have flowers in my very last kind of blue color, and so I'll bring flowers up to my little embellishment cluster as well. And the picture itself from the inspiration piece is a flower, so we're going with the whole floral theme here, and I think it kind of works with my pictures because they're just kind of more generic. I was thinking there were 2 options for these pictures. I would do something like this, really floral, and kind of use up a bunch of my stash, put some flowers together, or I was going to do something with a whole bunch of frames because my kids are all sitting on a like a bench swing in a giant frame. So it was going to be one or the other, and I still do have a 4x6 photo of all of us with this, so I might do that in more of a frame theme and leave this one as a nice kind of flowery, pretty theme. So yeah, so there isn't going to be too much going on there, because you can see it does get kind of busy, and it's nice to be able to take in all of the faces of everybody that is in that photo. And so I don't want a lot of little extras kind of competing with you being able to look at those pictures and take in all the details of what the kids are wearing and their faces and stuff like that. So just this cute little embellishment, and I keep kind of bringing my pictures back to make sure that I'm not putting a bunch of stuff down that will just end up getting covered up. But it is a pretty tiny little space. I put that first kind of larger, it's almost like a coffee stain I put that down because I thought it's opaque in the background, but it's almost more like a vellum sticker. So it just gave me sort of a bit of a blank space to go ahead and fill up with some flowers, but you can still see a little bit of the pattern poking through. So it wasn't like this bright, solid white base where I was going to start putting stuff. It just kind of blended the background in a little bit, and just helps you kind of see those flowers and see that little embellishment cluster. And the flowers are actually from a Paige Evans collection, an old one that I just have in this kit. I put a kit together with a bunch of kind of summery, fun, travel-y stuff for this album and for my other travel albums. So most of it is Vicki Boutin, but the odd little bit and piece here is going to be from something else just within that kit. So those flowers are there. I was sort of hoping I would be able to find flowers that matched all of the colors from the color swatch. Oh my goodness, the color swatch. Geez, it's like I've never done a voiceover before. I am stumbling all over my words, but that's okay. I was trying to find flowers that matched all of the colors in the color swatch. If not the actual color swatch, then at least the colors that I'm using, but there weren't all of those colors. So I figured I'll just put a couple down there. I probably wouldn't have had enough room anyways and would have, made it look a little too busy. So that was fine. But if you had enough flowers to kind of match all of your colors, that would definitely work really good too, and kind of bring home the color combo, the color theme from the inspiration piece. And then I just did a few extra little embellishments to make it feel a little bit more complete. So I added some of those little phrases to each of the strips of paper and a little black circle with a gold heart in it. It kind of adds a little bit of extra texture and a little bit of shimmer and shine. And then I'm obviously going to do a little bit of sketchy outlining. With so many patterns, I felt like it really needed it to just really make it feel like it's done. So I went ahead with my black marker, and now I'm going to go in with some white. The black really helps to kind of give you a nice border, but you can see here how on some of those patterns the white actually showed up a lot nicer. So I decided to go ahead and do both of them. I also used the little border strip from the sticker sheet that I was working with, that 6x12 sticker sheet. So I put it down at the bottom and realized I only had a little chunk of it left. So I kind of shifted my photos around and added a little bit of that to the top. So it's just a little scallop kind of peeking out from the bottom and the top there. And my finishing touch is some sequins. I haven't really been pulling my sequins out very much lately, and I kind of miss them. So I thought I'd go ahead and do that instead of splatters or anything else. And that's it. I don't need to do any journaling or add a title to this particular layout. So it is all done. This came together so quick and so easy, and I actually love how it turned out. It's kind of clean, but also has those little fun kind of busy touches that I really enjoy. So yeah, that is it for me. Please go and check out Mel and Lynda and Hollie as well. Their links are all down below in the description box. And until next time, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. Bye.